you get it all, baby.
Yo, what's up, gang? Welcome back to That Fit Podcast. Another episode in store. We've got a hell of an episode in store. But today's guest is my guy, the big guy, the linchpin, Jeff Lynch. How you doing, my guy?
Here we go, brother.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Nah, not much, brother. Just rehab and work, and that's about it, my man.
Yeah. So for anyone listening and stuff like that, explain who you are, what you do, and where you're originally from.
Yeah, so Jeff Lynch. I'm originally from Canberra.
Yeah.
ACT. Played footy for the Canberra Raiders for about 6 or 7 years before moving up here and getting a gig with the Titans for a year.
Yeah.
And then I'm just playing for the Burleigh Bears at the moment.
Yeah.
In the Queensland Cup. So I've had 3 ACLs. I just had my last ACL reco 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just on the comeback now, and yeah, keen as, brother.
Mad. So let's take it back, bro. Like, obviously, been in footy circle, especially in New Zealand. I suppose it's the same over here with the NRL and stuff like that. All you dream about as a kid is being in the NRL. Like, what was it like growing up for you? And was that the dream from the day that, I guess, not that you were born, but growing up? Was that all you knew, footy?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, to be honest, in my family, like, they were all. I grew up on a little farm out in the country, just out of Canberra.
Yeah.
So my mum and my dad's side, all through my whole family, is all horses, like riding horses and training horses. And, yeah, so I was sort of the black sheep of the family. Like, none of my cousins, no one in my family has ever played footy or anything. So I rode horses myself. I took them to shows, show jumped the horses, bro, everything. So like, no one on the Gold Coast actually really knows
bro,
that.
that's funny, bro,
because
I grew up on farm as well, and we had race horses and shit, bro.
Yeah,
so that I relate to that a lot, and
bro,
it's like
so
it's fucking
funny.
different, bro. But it's the funnest thing ever because
Bro,
like most people are like scared of horses and stuff like that. Which
100%.
for you, obviously growing up and doing that sort of stuff, like eventually, how'd you get into footy?
Yeah, so I was doing the horse thing, going around there every week, and you sort of just, I don't know, like, I guess the easiest way to put it is like, if your dad is a chippy, like, you're naturally going to be
do that,
a chippy or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to be pretty good at that. It's like my mum and dad were like, that was the whole family thing, was the horse thing. So I was pretty naturally good at riding horses and showing them and stuff like that. So, but it just come to a time where when I was like, 9 or 10, and it just wasn't giving me that. I was winning the events and that I was winning, but I was just like, oh man, this is not really.
So you did like show jumping, like that?
Yeah. Barrel
dressage?
racing, no dressage.
That's too fancy.
That's a little bit too fancy. My sister's done all that, but
Yeah.
just show jumping, and mostly show jumping, and then a little bit of barrel racing here and there. But yeah, so then when I was like, I started playing footy when I was about 7, but not really into it till I was about 10, 11. And then, I started playing that, and I was just like, well, this is fucking, this is unreal. So I loved it, and then just sort of grew from it. My mates would play it, and then I sort of just felt like I was, I don't know, a little bit more included, because none of my mates or anything had horses. None of them were riding horses and going to shows. And
so it felt like it was a way to like meet people and stuff like that?
Yeah, when I started playing footy, it was just like, okay, I'm in the group now, you know what I mean? But also, like, it just felt natural to play footy and sort of, I just loved the game. So I played rugby league up until I was about 12, 13, and then some of my mates were getting signed by like Canberra Raiders and stuff. And
12 or 13?
Yeah.
What sort of year was that?
Oh shit. That would have been like 07, 08.
Okay.
Or no, probably a little bit earlier. If I was 12 or 13. But anyway, so I tracked a little bit. They started getting signed 12, 13. They were going over to like the development camps and that sort of stuff, and I was just like, oh shit, like I'm not even getting a look in here. So I got a bit frustrated, and then I went and tried out Union. Played Union. My first ever game I played of Union, there was Central West tryouts, which is sort of like a step below New South Wales.
Yeah.
And that was my first ever game.
Yeah.
Was the tryouts. And,
What position did you play?
I played inside centre.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just tall, skinny thing.
Yeah. But different now. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, and the coaches told me, they said, like, look, you can go there and try out, but obviously it's your first game of union, and you know, don't expect anything. And I said, well, I just want to go play a game.
Yeah.
Like, I've got no league anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to go tackle and you know. Anyway, so we go there, and I ended up getting picked in the Central West team, and none of the other boys from where I'm from got picked who play union.
Okay.
So I was like, well, shit, here we go.
What do you think that was? Like, was it just something that union wasn't as big down there, or was it just like, it was just a moment where you're just like, fuck, it was just, it happened the way it happened?
I don't know. Like, I think that league players transitioning to union, I think union's a complete different game. I think it's harder to transition to union, but I think, like, if you still have the like the same core values, you know, run hard, tackle hard, and all of your effort areas, if you're doing all of them well, then you know, like, you're gonna go well in whatever sport. And at that stage, the league players back home were a little bit more advanced than the union players. So I think that was probably the difference. If you didn't get picked in the league team, you'd go play union, and you'd progress into union. So I did that for 2 years, and then come back, and my league boys were like, "Oh, come have another season in the league," and I was like, "Shit, like I'm making some teams in union, but I'm not." Once again, I wasn't really like, I was like, okay, so it's one of them things where I'm making the teams. But I don't really care about the sport, you know what I mean? I'm not really having that much fun out here. So it was like, you know, fuck it. I'll go back to league, play with all my boys, and then whatever happens, happens.
Especially at that young age, bro, like, because I felt like, especially for sports and stuff like that, because you're around all the boys and stuff, and it's all about fun back then, it's like you want to be around the people that you really, like, vibe with as well. 100. So that really makes sense. So going back to league and stuff like that, how did everything sort of start to progress there?
So that was, bro, it was pretty quick, to be honest. So I come back, I think I was 15, maybe 16, and I've just come back from union. I'm just doing my first pre-season, again with the league boys, and it was probably one of the hardest ones, and I was probably at, like, my fittest that I'd been, and there was a sort of like the Central West for union, it's called Group 10 trials, which is like our area for league, and they had them, and then I went there. But to be honest, I used to always be like a back in rugby league, hey, and then I come back and I was sort of still tall and skinny, but I just run fucking straight and as hard as I could,
as you can.
And then I was just like, you know what, because my thought process was a little bit different. When I come back to league, I was like, fuck, I have a bit of a point to prove, you know what I mean? Because, like, I've gone to union, I've made the teams. Fuck, if I can use that experience to come back and go, like, look, like, this is what I could have been, you know what I mean? And so the tryouts, they put me in the front row. It was like the smallest front row out there, just running straight and hard, getting poleaxed, but hopping up, playing the ball, putting everything into every tackle. Next minute, like, I start to hear whispers around the grounds. Like, we're still got 1 or 2 games to go, and I'm hearing whispers like, "Oh, Jeff, like, I think they're putting your name into the possibles, probables, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like, obviously, I'll just deal with that when it comes. But you know, it was pretty cool to hear the whispers. Next minute, we finished the day, and they named the team, and balls, I was in the team, you know, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" Like, this is unreal. Like, you know. Heaps of my mates had been making that team for years, bro. But, like, for me to make it then, I was just like, okay, well, this could be the little springboard that I needed, you know. So then that happened, and then after we made the final. We ended up playing another group. I think it was Group 1. In that comp, and then player managers started approaching me, and then that's when everything started to really unravel.
So especially at that age, 15, 16, you don't even know, like, much about life at this point, right? So when you start, because I had similar experiences back home, and it's just like, what were you thinking when, like, people were coming up to you like, hey, like, we like you as a player and stuff like that? What sort of conversations were you having, and what thought process were you having at that point?
Oh man, like, probably just how you would imagine it, you know, yourself when you're 15 years old, and some guy comes up to you and he has these contract papers that has a big NRL player agent sticker on the front of him, and then you start thinking, oh, well, like I can be an NRL player, you know, blah, blah, blah. But really, you're so many steps away from that. Like, but it's easy to see now. But when you're in that moment, man, it's just like, okay, cool. Like, where do I sign, you know? Yeah. But I was pretty lucky, like, you know, I had some good people around me to sort of just say, take a step back.
Who are those people?
Well, Mum was the main one.
Yeah.
But then there's some other people within the town. Ian Hindmarsh, who is Nathan Hindmarsh's brother. He actually owns a farm.
Is he funny like him or what?
Nah, he's actually he's the best bloke, mate. But he's complete opposite. Like he literally just lives on a big farm out there and a dairy farm and that sort of stuff. So like, you know, he gets the hands dirty, whereas I think Nathan, he just, I don't know if he does that anymore. No. But,
what was he sort of telling you?
Yeah, so he was just, because it was about this one player agent, and he used to manage Sonny Bill, and I think he had Nathan Hindmarsh at one stage and stuff. I don't want to say the guy's name. I don't think he's even accredited anymore. Okay. But, I was keen because, like, as soon as you hear that he's had Sonny Bill and had yada yada, you go, I'm going far out. Like, he's going to get me the maddest deal. Like, but you look at it now and you're like, mate, you're 15 years old. He's probably gone to another 150 of these kids. 100%. You know what I mean?
But at that point, you're just like, oh fuck, I feel special. I'm the only one that he's coming to.
100%. So yeah, it was good. It was good to have them sort of people around me to, you know, guide me in the right way. But yeah, so and same thing goes with the footy. Like, I think after we won that comp, then there was like Melbourne offered a scholarship. The Raiders only really offered a like train and trial, so like because they were like 2 hours away. And one of our other boys, Shannon Boyd, he was already contracted with them, so I would just travel over with him if I wanted to. The Bulldogs offered a scholarship. Parramatta offered a scholarship. So I had, like, once these things started coming in, like all this paperwork, and I'm going, holy crap, like,
I don't even fucking attend maths class. How am I supposed to read these?
That's right, you know, and that is 100%. Like, in school, I was never good at school. You know what I mean? And all my energy and focus was all into footy. So yeah, it was pretty buzzy, and I was all in. You know what I mean? So I ended up choosing the Raiders. Like, I pretty much signed the Melbourne deal, and wanted to get that sent off. And my mum and dad held me back, and said, I think you should try the Raiders one because they're only 2 hours away. You can, you know, but they weren't even offering me a scholarship or nothing, no money, no nothing. It was literally, you come to training, we'll see how you go, and then you might be in the squad. Whereas all the other teams were offering money, everything, pay my schooling. So it was like, why would I take the Canberra one? And especially because Melbourne, like, I was thinking Melbourne, that's where you're going to learn, blah, blah, blah,
man. They're doing crazy stuff.
But, bro, to be honest, like, I think that I made the best decision to go to Melbourne. I mean, to Canberra, sorry. Thankfully, you know, Mum made me hold off and that sort of stuff, because I ended up going to Canberra, train there. My first training session, the coach come up to me and goes, mate, you know, we think you're good to go, so we'll have a scholarship sent to you next week. They sent it there, signed it, boom. So I was 2 years young for the under 18s.
Okay.
So and most of these boys playing, and it was called SG Ball back then. Most of the boys had been, you know, playing there for a few years and that sort of stuff. And Shannon Boyd, like, mate, he's massive. So he was probably he would have been about 110, 112 kilos at that stage, and I just remember, like, I was going up against him, like, he's from back home, I was going up against guys like him and all that sort of stuff, but just putting everything I got into it, you know, like, I was so skinny and small back then, you know, and it's just like, I think the coaches and that just appreciated, like, someone the effort. So small, just going hard, whether you get flogged, whether just seeing the effort there, they love that, you know what I mean? So that's what I sort of prided myself on, and the coach come up to me after the preseason and said, Lynchy, look, you've had an unreal preseason, but unfortunately, like I don't think that we're going to be able to play you this year. But you can you're still training here. You can do this, you can do that, and you can just learn for the next year. Like you'll be experienced and you'll be good to go.
Because what were your thoughts at that moment? Because when they say that, just not ready this year, does it feel like but a disappointment and stuff? Like, what was going through your head? Because people at that point, they'll be like, oh fuck, like maybe I'm not good enough.
Like to be honest, I just appreciated his honesty. You know what I mean? And that's probably like one of the very rare conversations that a coach has been honest with me. Because like I know, like there's so much sugarcoating, bro, these days, and even and for him to just go, Lynchy, look, you're probably not going to play. I could go, all right, no worries. But in my head, I was going, yeah, sweet, but I'm still going to turn up to training every fucking day, and I'm going to give you my all. So then you're still thinking, well, shit, if someone goes down. So the funny thing was round one, the lock that had been the lock there for years, bro, he ended up getting injured. And then round two, all for the rest of the season, boom, I was in. I played every single game. So he like 2 weeks before, he said that I'm not going to play. But he said it in a way like, you know, it's going to be a development year. And only because they had the squad there. And I think like because my mentality was still the positive set, like
I'm ready to go.
I had two options there. I could put my tail between my legs and go, fuck, poor me. Or turn right and go, you know what, which I did. Like, yeah, sweet. Like this can be a development year, but I'm still going to give it my best shot. I'm still going to come out, do all the extras, do all this, and then if I don't get picked, I don't get picked. But at least I've given it my all, you know. So everything, and I think that's what I think that sort of energy, like the good karma, got back to me. You know what I mean? Round two, boom, and I was straight back in there. So that was a pretty cool little moment. But as I said, that's a very rare moment that like one of the coaches has been upfront and honest with you, because there's a lot of bullshitting that goes on. You know, until you see something in writing, it means for nothing.
100%. So going on from there, play that full season. What do the next couple of years look like for you?
Yeah, so the next couple of years, so I was 2 years young then. So then I played a few more years of SG ball. And I was pretty established in Canberra then. And then I went into the under-20 system. And that was a good experience. And then what did I do? I think I'd done 3 years of under-20s. And then just when I finished under-20s, then I signed a 2-year deal like with the NRL squad. Which was like, you know, dream come true. I was like, far out, like it's heading in the right direction here. But at the end of the under-20s, I had to have a right shoulder reco. But I'd already signed, so it was like, I was pretty much...
what does the go with that if you come in injured?
So they already knew about it, so it wasn't like I'm going to a new club and then I'm going, but I've got to have my shoulder reco, because that would be pretty off-putting. But they knew about it. They told me to get the surgery, because I was like, I won't get it if you don't want me to, blah, blah, blah. But they said, no, get the surgery, get it done and dusted, so then when you come back, you can be back in ready for pre-season with NRL, and then you can give it a good shot. So did that, did all my rehab, and come back in about 8 months, I think. My very first game back, bro, was a NRL trial against the Knights, and I was front row again, taking the kickoff. And it's a funny story, this one, actually, because I'd been on for like 26, 27 minutes. You know, I was pretty cooked. And like in NRL, my first game back from my shoulder. You know what I mean? Like I'm blowing my ass out, bro. So we just scored, like I was blowing, and they're going, Lynchy, we'll take you off one more set. I'm like, sweet.
So when you hear that, it's like, fuck, don't say that shit.
And then we score a try in the corner. So I'm like, fuck, we're sweet. We get a little break, take your breath, maybe 5 more minutes, whatever. I get the kickoff, run straight, and I always like do just like a right foot on step or left foot step, whatever. I've stepped, boost, like straight away. Someone's just like from the back, just sniping me, bro. And I just knew straight away, because I could hear it. and I could I could feel it.
Yeah.
And I pretty much dropped, and the two Knights fellas, I can't remember who the back rower was, but he was a regular first grader.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, because I was on my way down.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, he's gonna cream me here. And I was like, I was just like, oh please, like hopefully he sees that I'm gone. Like I'm like surrendering already. You know what I mean? But he was sweet. And then the funny thing about that was that. So I was down there. I didn't really know what was going on because I've never done a knee before.
Yeah.
And like I'd always sort of had a few little shoulder niggles and that, but never a knee.
Yeah.
Went off the field, went into the dressing shed. The doc come in. He was a Sydney-based doctor.
Yeah.
He come in and like, bro, I couldn't put any weight on it at all. Nothing. And he's doing the test. Like I don't know if if you've seen an ACL test, they just like pull the knee that way and see if there's any looseness.
Yeah.
So he's done that, and he's gone. He goes, mate, it feels fine. You should be right to go back out.
Yeah.
And I'm going.
Hold on
I
a
just
minute.
like laugh, like I'm almost in tears, in pain, and I'm just going like, you're taking the piss. And there's a room full of like, other medical staff.
Yeah.
I was just lucky that there was a Raiders scout.
Yeah.
Standing behind the try line, like directly behind me where it happened, and he was in the room too. And he's seen me run and step, and he's seen the knee go. And he goes to the doc, mate, I know for a fact that it's not
That's not
okay
sweet.
because like I've seen the knee go.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay, I'll have another look. And he's like fiddling around with it, and he goes, no, mate, like it's sweet to go.
Yeah.
And I've gone, well, fuck, mate, I can't put no weight on it. So, anyways. And then in my head, I'm going, maybe you are a pussy.
Yeah.
Maybe you are just bunging it on. Like,
100%.
because like it goes like that, and like it's so painful for like maybe 30 seconds. And after that 30 seconds, bro, there's no pain. And and then I'm just like, shit, maybe I'm just being a cat. But so you just sort of need to like trust your gut instinct.
Yeah.
But then I was on crutches, bro. Went to the doctor the next morning, the Raiders doctor, got the scans, everything, boom, ACL, MCL, meniscus, the full thing, all of it.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, how the hell like did that doctor say that I was sweet to go back?
Yeah.
Like, how is he a doctor? You know what I mean? But so that was my first one, bro. My first game back from my shoulder reco, I have the opposite knee done, but they reckon there's studies done.
Yeah.
That's called the sling.
Really?
So opposite shoulder, opposite knee. They reckon it's really common for if you do a knee, you'll do the opposite shoulder, or if you do a shoulder,
Is it just because you start to move your body in a certain way to keep that out of contact? Or
Well, I've honestly got no idea, but I remember the physio rattling off some stats with me, talking all university talk when I was seeing him down there at Canberra. He reckons like because it happened. Funny thing is one of the other under 20s boys. He'd just come back from a shoulder and done his opposite knee as well the week before. And that was the week before I returned. I was going, oh, that poor bastard, I couldn't imagine coming back. You've just come back from your shoulder. And then the week after, I do the exact same thing. And I was just like, shit. So they reckon there's studies out there that's actually a proper thing. The sling. So they were saying, one of the scouts for the Raiders was saying, if we're looking at someone and he's done a shoulder, we're not going to sign him because he's going to do his knee.
Yeah, 100%. Fuck, that makes sense, man. Fuck, so you've had 3 of these now. Man, obviously it happened again, but third time, like, for some people it's, you're starting to think about, do I keep playing? What's your mindset with that? Because I had one shoulder injury. I'm like, fuck, nah, the same for me, man, because it really does start to, especially as you get older, it starts to become about health and stuff like that. So what's your mindset with that? Like, have you had thoughts? And why do you keep coming back after so many injuries?
Yeah, 100. Oh man, like my mindset, like I think you deal with them differently each time. Like my first ACL was like, okay, this is another massive setback, especially because I just come back from my shoulder. So I was like, fuck, this is 2 in a row. Like, and then I was pretty demons, seeing black there for a little bit. So, but my rehab process for that was so good. I come back, I was stronger, like so much stronger than or 4. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But then I had my second ACL Rico in 2017, and that was the pits.
Yeah.
That was the pits.
Well, why was that one harder? Was it just a situation you were in?
Well, because my first one, I was full-time contracted with the
Yeah.
Raiders. So, like, and at the Raiders, we've got the AIS just across the road. So we've got the best facilities in Australia. You know, I've got full-time physio. I had the physio coming to my house every morning treating on me. Anything that I needed, like,
it was there.
My schedule, bro, was wake up, go into training, get physio, do my rehab on my knee, then go to the AIS to do recovery. AIS again, top on the Ultra G. You know what I mean? So like that's my day. I'm not going to work. Like that's
just getting,
that's my work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So Monday to Saturday, that was me. So I'm being looked after 24/7.
Yeah.
Whereas you come into a semi-professional thing where, you know, I did my knee. I know 6 weeks after I had my surgery, I had to be out back landscaping, bro, because I had no money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no money to pay the bills. So I was like, well, complete different worlds. So that was the thing. Like, and then I got to landscaping. He wants me to be on the wheelbarrow. I'm like, bro, I can barely walk. Like, my knee's still a soccer ball. You know what I mean? So just that sort of stuff. Like that took a fair bit of adjusting. So then, you know, I had some, and then I was pretty just, I was just angry at the world. Just like, it was sort of like, shit, like this sort of keeps happening. And I had a unhealthy mindset, of dealing with it. You know what I mean? And then I think that flowed on to, like, you know, then I would get on the drink
everything
heavy
else,
and everything else. And then that then flowed on to, you know, poor results, poor rehab, blah, 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 blah. So I'd always said that if I had another ACL, like I would always say I'm never going to have another ACL Rico, but if I was to, then that would be me.
Okay.
And bro, with this one, it was just weird because like both of them, it would go. My ACL went like that. I heard it, seen it, felt it. I was taken off straight away. Yeah. This one, the surgeon reckons I played all year with no ACL. So, bloody, like, I don't know when it happened. I don't know how it happened. I don't know anything. The only thing that I can, I've been racking my brain about how it happened or when it happened, since the surgeon told me. And the only thing I can think of is like I noticed my knee would like swell up and stuff after the last away game, like in the normal comp, just before semis, it would swell up, but and give me a little bit of grief. But to be honest, I just thought that was wear and tear. Like it's been a big year, man. My legs had copped a flogging, so I would then just, you know, recover. Go to training, do the training, and in the sessions I'd be sweet. So I'd be like, well, there's nothing technically wrong with them because you're getting through the sessions, you're doing everything as normal, and then after the session blows up again, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just keep my recovery pattern going on. Like, it's obviously working on the field. Got through the semis. It was giving me a bit of grief here and there, but got through them and played pretty well. Like, there was no alarms in the games. Like, in the game, like, it was probably one of my better years, you know? Like, which is why it never clicked on. You know what I mean? So we got knocked out on grand final day. And then after that, my knee blew up, harder to walk, all that sort of stuff. And then I work as a support worker at school, and I was just walking around just normally, you know what I mean? And my knee would sort of give way on me, and then and it would hurt when it gives way, you know, and just all these little things. So I was like, oh shit, like this is not normal. Like, I've had 2 ACLs and none of them did this, you know 100%. What I mean? So I ended up going to the physio, told him what was going on, and he's like, oh, you know, just ease up, don't do anything on it for a couple of weeks, and come back to me, and if it's still giving you curry, then we'll look at it.
So you're talking about being all in and stuff like that, and I want to talk about that because I'm that dude too, bro. And I think it's from sports and stuff like that. So where did this come from for you in terms of being all in, and where'd you learn that from, or was it just being around a team and stuff like that, in the sense that if you're not all in, you're sort of letting the team down? Is that sort of where that comes from?
No, I think it's just a personal thing. Like, I don't know. When I first come into footy, as I said, like before, like I was tiny. So like I've always had to work harder.
That's the thing. If you weren't all in, you'd...
That's right. I'd be so like, yeah. I've always had to work twice as hard just to be at standard. You know what I mean? Not to be better, not to be, you know, I talk about it a fair bit. Like there's people in the off season, I usually train pretty hard in the off season. So then when I come back to pre-season, I'm coming back day one, and like not going over the top, still understanding that you need your rest periods and that sort of stuff. But when I come back day one, I'm good to go, and I still feel energized, ready to go. Whereas I know there's other blokes, which is like fair play to them, that do fuck all, and come to pre-season and are still fit, you know what I mean, and still strong. Like 100%. Whereas I'm going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I'm doing my extra runs. I'm doing all this sort of stuff. I'm doing stretching, whatever, and I'm just standard, maybe a little bit above. You know what I mean, but not shocking the world. You know what I mean. So I think it comes back from when I transitioned out of the horse game into footy. It was almost like me against everyone else. Yeah. It was like that mentality was never put into me by anyone. I didn't really look up to anyone like at that young age. Yeah. It was just like I always just felt like it was the world against me. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, like this is my way. And like I was a pretty little angry dude as well. Yeah. So like it was my way of getting my frustrations out and then that's just how it was, you know. So it stems from down there, you know what I mean? Like when I was a young kid, it was just like I always just thought it was me against the world. And
well, it has to be, man, because the thing is, especially in sports, bro, it's very high intensity. It's very ego driven in a certain way that if you don't have your wits about you, if you don't have that chip on your shoulder, you're just going to get eaten up. Like
100%.
And obviously, when you're talking about you went to uni and you were making the teams and stuff like that, you come back, it's like you had that chip on your shoulder. And the thing is, especially in life, is that you can't achieve anything unless you have something that proper drive in you as well. So that's crazy. And you mentioned on before, and we've spoken about this before, being a support worker for obviously the kids and stuff like that. Now that you've gone through all these things and 3 knee surgeries, reconstructions, and shoulder reconstruction, is what do you teach the kids now that, you know, coming up and that sort of don't have an idea about the world or what they want to do with their life? What's your mindset with helping them, because it's so important? Yeah,
for sure. Like so I'm a disability support worker, and I'm also a support worker at Kebra Park High, which is like, you know, arguably one of the biggest NRL rugby league schools in Australia. So to be honest, it's not so much like what I can teach them. It's just me sort of giving back and like being that person of support that I would have appreciated if I was in that situation. You know what I mean? So like, you know, most of these kids are going to be way better than me at football and all that sort of stuff. And it's just about me, you know, listening to them and listening to their problems, listening to what's going on, because there's so much other shit going on for these kids than just the footy, and the footy's the easy part for them. Yeah, you know, it's what goes on at home. There could be 9 kids living at home with just mum, and she's stressed out, she's overtired, she's overworked, she's you know, she's got no money, she can't afford to get uniforms for the boys then come to school and, you know, they've got a hole in their shirt, and then that creates anxiety for them, and you know, so it's just about trying to give back and trying to make the kids feel comfortable in their own skin. So then when they like, and the footy is just
that's natural. That comes natural to them.
That'll just be sweet. Like, so if you can get everything else sorted and them feeling comfortable in their own skin, then everything else is going to flourish, bro. You know? So, like, I'm pretty much just there and just try and make them feel comfortable, make sure they have a good time, but make sure that they're that they know that I'm listening to them. And you know, I'm no savior, but I'll do whatever I can to help them get to where they want to be. You know what I mean? That's the main thing that I tell the kids is like, look, you know, my job here is to do everything that I can to ensure you go where you want to be. You tell me what you want to do, and I can book you into this TAFE course. I can take you down and we can sit down and do some L's learning classes, all that sort of stuff. I can sit back here and do some maths with you or whatever. You tell me what direction you want to go in, and I'll do everything I can to help you get there. You know what I mean? So I love that.
Yeah. And obviously moving on, spoke about it before, is little documentary coming out. How did this come about? What is it about? Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah. So I didn't know we were going to talk about it. But anyways, so we've got a little doco coming out. It's meant to be a 3-part series. So it's just going to be a little like each part will be, you know, 3 or 4 minutes. It'll just be, it's called The Road to Recovery. I think a trailer will be out at the end of this week, maybe. So that'll give you a little bit of an insight.
Would that be out on YouTube or?
I think it's just going to be Instagram, maybe Instagram or Facebook or something. But when it comes out, I'll flick you a link. You can chuck it up,
put it up,
whatever. But yeah, it's just about my road to recovery, pretty much, and about like the processes and the mindset of coming back from 3 ACLs on the same knee to come back and play in a semi-professional environment, you know, where one strand below the NRL. So, like, if I can come back and overcome this setback, like, as I was saying before, like, it's not so much about it is about coming back from 3 ACLs, but it's more deeper than that, about, like, when you think that you can't come back and then changing that mindset, like, as we've had so many options before, like right then and there when I got told that I was to have the 3rd ACL, I could have, as I said, turned left and felt so sorry for, like, when I tell my friends and that I had to have 3 ACL, like my 3rd one, they're all like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like blah, 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 and feel really sorry for me. And I'm there and I'm upbeat and I'm like really positive about it. And it's sort of, they're like, oh, well, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know, why are you happy? Like, and I'm like, well, you know, it's just a different mindset. You know what I mean? So, like, if I could easily sit there and feel sorry for myself and then allow you to feel sorry for me. But at the end of the day, it's just going to end up, I'm just going to end up on the lounge crying myself to sleep, you know, getting in a really dark place for a few months, and it's just not healthy. So either way, you know, I turned right. And I was just like, fuck this. I'm putting all of my energy, everything that I've got into making this right. And look, at the end of the day, if I do everything I can and I still can't get out there and play, at least I've ticked all the boxes and I can go, you know what?
Peace at that moment, right? It's like, fuck, I just want that peace of knowing that, well, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that this happens. If it doesn't, like, I'm fine with it. 100. Rather than fucking regretting and be like, fuck, I really didn't put that much effort into really getting back to where I need to be.
Bro, 100%. And, like, I can look back at my last Rico and I go, you know what, like, yeah, you were training the house down and whatever, but you were on the piss, you were doing this, you were doing that. Whereas I haven't had, you know, as soon as I got the phone call and I was at my mate's party, that was the last bit of alcohol that I had, and that was it. I said, okay, that's it. This is a new chapter. Like, it's either I turn left and I feel sorry for myself and I get on the piss all the time and do that, or I turn right and go, fuck this. I'm putting everything that I'm doing, I'm doing for my mental health, my relationship, like, just to be a better person and to also be a stronger person. You know what I mean? So I think the flow-on effect of no alcohol, man, makes a massive difference. Like the positive gains out of so many other areas of your life come.
Especially in those circles, man, especially around 40, is that it's notorious for that, you know what I mean? So how did you go about that? Because that's hard, man, because especially when all the boys and stuff are like, you know, into that shit and really just, you know, having a good time, but at the same time, it can be a way of escaping. how did you go about that? Like, did you find it hard, or was it something like you're quite a strong person like that? Like, nah, that's it.
Nah, it's always going to be a battle because, like, as I said, like I've got quite an addictive personality. So as like whatever I do, I'm
Doing it,
yep. You know, and people sort of know that about me. You know what I mean? So like with the drinking and that, I can't just go there to have a beer because that'll be 100 beers. You know what I mean? And like same with my training. If we're doing one set, then I turn it into 3. You know, like it's 100%. Just that's just an example. But to be honest, it hasn't been hard at all. Like in the past, it's so hard. You know what I mean? Like the first bit's hard, and then when you might be going well for 2 months or something. And then it
starts to feel good, right? And you're just like,
feeling good.
There's a bit of momentum here.
That's right. But then, you might get invited to, your best mate's party and you're like, oh, I'm not going to drink. You go there and you're like, no, I'm not drinking. But then you have 1 or 2 and then you relapse, you know what I mean? But whereas this time, but like, I don't want to put the mocker on me too early, but like, to be honest, man, like, I have not been tempted at all. Like, and I went back to Canberra. I seen family and friends there. That was over Christmas time. I had so many opportunities that I could have easily slipped up, and I didn't. And I wasn't even tempted. Like instead of that, I was training with my brother in Canberra. You know what I mean? So, and then when I come back up here, like I've got a mate's 21st next week, and I've already said, I said, mate, look. I'm going to come, I'll shake your hand, say happy birthday, stick around for an hour, then I'm going to fuck off. And like,
it's the easiest way to do it, man.
Like the people in your circle that understand, that's what you need to do.
They're the ones. Yeah, 100%.
They know that's the right thing. So if you got people in your corner when you're saying that you're off the piss and they're trying to get you to do it, that they shouldn't be in your corner. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's been easy, bro. It's been easy. So many things like school, like I'm back at work. School's easy. Like mentally, I feel so clear.
But when you get to that point, everything starts as being so clear. You don't want to let it go away because it's just like, fuck. All that, like, I just feel so much better. I have much clarity. I just make better decisions. That it's hard, man. But then at the same time, there's life to live. You got to get out there sometimes, which makes me ask the question, man. Obviously, footy's known for like Mad Mondays. Any Mad Monday stories that stick out for you?
Oh shit! Like Mad Mondays, bro. To be honest, like in Canberra, there was a bit of a time going on, like where there was a fair few shenanigans going on. So, probably not that I could say on the podcast, but I know in 2014 we had an end of season trip and we went to Cancun,
Mexico.
We went to Cancun in Mexico, bro. So that was when I'm not sure if you know, but like Terry Campese, who else? There was like Glenn Buttress. Oh shit. Yeah, there was like, what was there? There was about 10 of us or 12 of us. Yeah. John Monaghan.
Because the boys normally try to go Bali and stuff like that, or they try to get away.
So at the start of 2014, Dane Tills, he was the front row there. He'd organised like, boys, let's just chuck in. Yeah, I'll make this account. Let's chuck in $50 a week. So then by the end of the year, like we've got we've got whatever we need, and it doesn't have to come out of your account like in one big hit. And I was like, fuck, like, bro, I was a young kid. I was like 20, 21. I was like, I don't really want to think about that because, like, it's money coming out of my weekly. These guys are on hundreds of thousands. Here I am just fucking like 40 grand or something. So, anyways, getting through halfway through the year, and I'm like, and they're going, Cancun, Mexico. I had no idea, like, what Cancun was, where it was, 100%. Whatever. And the boys started talking about it, and I looked at it, and I was just like, holy fuck. Like,
it's crazy.
I need to go. You know what I mean? I'm like, with this bunch of like these are all NRL players that I've looked up to for my 100%. Whole life. Like Canberra, like
especially just
I consider them away from the I just consider them as brothers. You know what I mean? 100%. But still, then when you sit back, you're like, fuck. When am I ever
gonna ever do this again?
Yeah, and so this was the thing. So get to the end of the season and that's when I had my knee reco.
Yeah.
I just had my knee reco probably a couple months and I was on the rehab journey. Ricky Stewart just signed to be our coach the following year. So we met Ricky and I was just like, so I'd paid all my money to the Cancun trip. Ricky'd come, we'd met him, and then I'm like, fuck, you know what? Like maybe I should just concentrate on on staying here, let the boys go, and I'll just stay here and try get my first grade thing, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm there with the physio, and I said, Conrad, I don't think I'm going to go to Cancun. I'm just going to stay here, rehab my knee, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Lynchy, honestly, mate, you have to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, why is that? He's like, well, like you've been dealt 2 massive blows. Like you've just been in rehab by yourself the last 2 years. Like you need to go over there, have a good 10 days, come back, and then we can reset.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but what about Ricky? You know, I want to, you know, have a chance to impress him and show him what I got, blah, 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 put my best foot forward. He goes, mate, this little break for you will be the best thing for you. I'm like, okay. So I got home, and next minute, bloody Terry Campese called me.
Yeah.
And even then, I still wasn't like made up about going. And I go, Campo, mate, look, I think I'm going to withdraw. I think I might get me money back.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Lynchy, okay, no worries, mate. He said, I'm not here to tell you what to do or anything, but he said, I'll just leave you with this little bit of advice. He said, like, I've played for Australia, played for New South Wales, I've played however many games and captained the Raiders. And he said, mate, the memories I cherish the most are the ones with the boys outside of footy. And he said, I'm not going to tell you to go or not, but he said, if you just have a think about the group that's going and where we're going to, he said, mate, that 10 days, you'll never, ever get that 10 days back. Like, you'll never be able to do that again with this group of boys. Yeah. And I sat there and I was like, holy fuck. I go, for one, Terry Campese just called me. You know what I mean? Like, fucking the mayor of Canberra just called me, bro. You know what I mean? And he's just giving me this pep talk, and I'm like, fucking let's go. You know what I mean? So, bro, we went to Cancun, and honest to God, like, I'm so grateful we went, bro, because, like, some of the other boys pulled out. Yeah. And honest, man, I don't think I could ever top that trip ever. Like, the boys that went over there, like, fuck me. One hell of a time.
100%. Yeah. 10 days, man.
10 days. Blink. It was probably about, we probably got a bit too much at about 7 days. One of the boys actually locked himself. I'm not going to mention names, bro, but one really well-known Raiders player who still plays, he locked himself in his room for like 3 or 4 days, bro, and that was after the first night. You know
holy shit, man! Especially after the first night too. You get like 7 or 8 days in, you're like, oh, fuck, it makes sense, but not after the first night.
100%. If he's watching this, you know who you are, brother.
100%, man. Fuck, that's crazy. So, well, man, like you talk about all these chapters. What does the next chapter look like? What does this year look like for you? And what are the things that really will, I guess, satisfy you and really be like, fuck, this year was a really good year?
Yeah. So, you know, I just want to, as I said before, like I just want to put all my energy into doing things that benefit me. So, number one is like, is having 10 beers going to benefit me? Probably not. Yeah. So, staying away from that and just, you know, this podcast, this will benefit me in some shape or form. You know what I mean? Man. Like just doing things that will benefit me. Yeah. So, mate, just keep doing my rehab. And then, hopefully, like the doco, hopefully that's a success.
That'd be cool, man.
Keep working on that. I've got another little thing building up in the works. Yeah. I don't really want to say until we get that in concrete, but there's another exciting little project happening. But yeah, hopefully just get my knee really strong and fit, and you know, I still want to be doing stuff around. I'm still going to be doing stuff around like Burleigh Bears. You know, as a bit of a leadershipy role, helping the young boys through, because we're a really young side this year. So there's probably about 5 or 6 of us boys that have been there from 2016-17 left. Like, and then the rest are just fresh faces. You know, so I just want to be able to. I don't know, man. Like, I just want to be a good. Like, I am a good person, but like, I just want to give back to people and just be that positive energy, brother. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I'm feeling unreal at the moment, and here we go.
I'm excited, man. And that's the thing. Like, I haven't known you for that long, but instantly, getting to know you so far, it's just like, fuck. You energy attract energy. I was like, you guys got that good energy, man, and the things that you do, I mean, people talk about that stuff, and that's what I appreciate the most. So I appreciate you coming on, bro. And
hey, anytime, brother.
100%. And obviously, I just started this year, and obviously from the previous guest, I get them to leave a question, and the question that asks the next guest. So they just asked for one. She gave me two. So if you weren't doing what you're currently doing, what would it be?
True. Well, like ever since I got out of the NRL, like full time thing.
Yeah.
So like my last gig was like my last full time contract at the Titans was done in like 2016.
Yeah.
That's all I'd known, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So it's taken. What am I? I'm 28 now.
Yeah.
So it took about 3 years, like, because all I knew is that like when we did promos and stuff for Raiders and Titans and stuff, I knew that I'd get up there and I'd talk in front of the kids and about like mental health and stuff and all this sort of stuff, and I felt so comfortable. You know what I mean? So I was like, how do I get that as a job? Like I've got no money coming in at the moment because my full-time contract's not playing. So long story short, I'd been able to get my youth work certificate. Yeah. I did a bit of a stint at Department of Youth Justice, and then I ended up landing a gig at Kira Park as a support worker. So if I wasn't doing this, bro, I'm not too sure. Like maybe like I'd really love to go down like the mental health route and sort of I don't know, open up like sort of a business or an organisation with mental health and like sport and physical fitness all in one, and maybe like disengaged youth, you know what I mean? And connect that all together.
100%.
Because you've got your live-ins and all that sort of stuff out here, but I sort of want to wrap all of that in together, having the disengaged youth. Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah. Right? Like we've got so many kids out here on the coast that are stealing cars and stuff, and they're 12, 13 years old, bro. If I can just help steer them into the right direction with doing fitness activities and engaging them back into sports and stuff, like I'm pretty passionate about that sort of stuff.
That's mad. And what's on your bucket list? What's a must-do thing there you've always been thinking about? I'm like, fuck, I'd love to do that.
Bucket list. Hop on your potty. But I've ticked that one off today. But honest, as I was talking to you before, I've always wanted to go over to the States and do like a month over there and just like suss out all the way that they do their sports and just embrace the American culture sort of thing and take that in. So I think me and the miss are trying to plan.
How's that planning going with like COVID and shit like that though?
Yeah, well, I think like we're planning for not this November, but like the next one after that. So that'll be like what, fucking 2024 or something. Yeah. So it's still a while away, but so I'd love to tick that off the list, bro. So
that's mad.
Here we go.
All right, man. Fuck, I appreciate you coming on, man. Have a story. You're doing great things out there, so I really appreciate you coming on, bro. And means a lot to me. It means a lot to that third and where we're trying to head. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Show us some love. Let us know what you think. But till next time, stay fit, stay vibey. Grateful.
Here we go.
We've been fucking around for 48 months straight. I won't judge you if you let me hit it first base. Put you in position, I don't even much play. You get my